Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lincoln Journal-Star's Life in the Red podcast. Luke Mullen and Amy Just. Once again, we're back. It's November. Still not that cold, though. It's still kind of waiting on that. We had a little bit, but
I wasn't here
yeah.
for it.
You escaped it.
I was not here for that, and I am not complaining. I'm not the biggest fan of the cold. Louisiana turned me into a bit of a wimp when it comes to winter weather, so I'm completely okay with it being what's it right now? It is 70 degrees right now.
Wow. We'll take that.
I will take that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All day, every day.
Still waiting on the weather change. We got a time change, though, which I was all thrown off. Traveling, time zones.
Yeah, you and your time zones.
I was struggling. I was struggling.
Little bit.
Yeah.
Y'all, he was struggling. But I was too, because I didn't correct him. So
yeah, we figured it out. We got there on time. Survived. Obviously we were out at the Michigan State football game this weekend. We'll break that down in full later in the episode, but want to talk volleyball, talk basketball. This is just going to be the case for the next few weeks. A lot of different
crossover season, baby.
A lot of different action to get to, of course. So we'll start things off with volleyball, and I got to give you some credit too, because you were worried about this Penn State match. You knew that it could be a little bit of a trip up, and it certainly was. The undefeated season nearly went, but Nebraska managed to escape that. Dropped the first two sets to Penn State, but came back for that 3-2 win. How about the fight in that one from rallying from those first two set losses?
Incredible. You've seen a lot of reverse sweeps around the country this season, but I didn't think Nebraska would ever find itself in a situation for that to even be possible. They've won just about every first set of the season, and they usually come out pretty dominant. And it's not that they didn't come out dominant. I think Penn State just came out on fire. It was a whiteout game for them. Their fans were really bringing the juice. I was watching it on my phone when we were at dinner and when I was out with a friend in Lansing. And, I didn't think that they would get swept, but I didn't know if they would be able to dig deep enough to figure that one out, and they did. So props to them. Once Penn State kind of got off of its high, Nebraska really took advantage, and Merritt Beeson saved the day.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got two words for you, Amy. Merritt Beeson, 27 kills, hit 426 in that one.
That is, for those who don't know volleyball numbers, 426 in a 5-set match is insane. Like, she not single-handedly, but she was a massive catalyst in the win for them. That's wild.
Absolutely. And guess what? She did just about the same thing, if not even better, a couple of days later, the next match that Nebraska played, 3-0 sweep over Rutgers. 21 kills. She hit 475 in that one. So
insane.
Pretty much every other swing going for a kill, which is incredible efficiency. And, from a leadership standpoint, too, I'm sure, she meant so much in that Penn State match. And what you said, kind of about the start that Nebraska had to deal with. I mean, John Cook touched on that a little bit today. He was very positive, of course, about Nebraska's performance, but he had so much good to say about what Penn State, did in challenging them early in that match, too.
Yeah, and it didn't surprise me that they were going to do that. Penn State is a tough out. When Nebraska swept them earlier this season, I thought that was a fluke. I'm like, this does not feel right. Like, Penn State is so much more talented than this, and they proved it last week.
Absolutely. So, undefeated season still going, and some awards every week. There's always some awards.
My Twitter thread is getting a little long at this point.
No surprise that Merritt Beeson was there. Big Ten Player of the Week for the fourth time. I mean, geez, 4-time Conference Player of the Week. And Bergen Riley, also the Big Ten Setter of the Week fourth time for her winning that award too.
And Bergen has also taken home 1 or 2 Big Ten Freshman of the Week awards. It's hard to keep track.
I'm struggling. Yeah.
Because Beeson has won 4 Player of the Week awards. And then Lindsay Krause has won a Player of the Week award. And then you have Bergen, who's won 2 different awards, freshman and setter. And then Harper Murray has won several Freshman of the Week awards. And Lexi Rodriguez has won a Defensive Player of the Week award. I think that's all of them. I think. Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me if Andy Jackson at some point wins the Freshman of the Week award. They're so talented and so deep everywhere. And it wouldn't surprise me if multiple people take home Player of the Year awards for their respective categories this season.
Yeah, the rotation is pretty incredible with the talent they can bring in whenever. And so still keeping that undefeated season going. They host Northwestern on Wednesday and Illinois on Sunday this week. Only 6 regular season matches remaining. The Big Ten slate, it kind of moves a little quick. Obviously you have, 2 matches a week roughly, and then you get through a few, and here we are, 6 regular season matches to go.
Yeah, and it's gonna be crazy down the stretch.
Some big ones. Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's
on the radar.
On Black Friday. So
yeah.
I wish I could be in 2 places at once for that one.
Absolutely. We'll have to do a in-depth preview of that one as well when we get to that. But that is your volleyball update, and want to talk some hoops, some season opening action. Of course, took place on Monday. Amy, long day at PBA.
Very long day at PBA. I got there 11-ish, and I left about 10:30.
Did it for the grind. Did it for the teams, huh?
I guess. I did it last year, and I thought it was really enjoyable, if not a very long day, but really it's kind of fun to be able to have the opportunity to watch both of them on the same day, kind of draw some parallels, some comparisons, that type of thing.
Yeah, always good. I mean, get an early look at them, and there's so much excitement, energy, of course, around these season openers, and tend to get a lot of players involved. That was definitely the case for the women's basketball team. Won that season opener 90-42 over Northwestern State. Again, cleared the bench, 6 different players with double-digit scoring. Jazz Shelley had 17 points in that one. Any standout takeaways from that game?
Yeah, I really liked Callan Hake. I thought she was not just good in the scoring game for one of her better games of her career, but she was just making opportunities for other people, crashing the glass. I just thought she was an energizer out there, and they need that, especially because, obviously you lose one of your best players for the entire season who has, been that energizer for them. And then the person who's expected to replace, Allison Widener and Maddie Kroll, she was out with a foot injury. So I really liked what Callan brought.
And Darian White, transfer guard.
Man,
really good debut.
Is so fun. She was painfully close to a double-double. Painfully close. She'll get there. She is what I thought she could be, at least through that first game. They really, really needed somebody to replicate the efforts of Sam Hybe in terms of just jumping out, setting the tone really early before the first media timeout, and she absolutely did that. And that will be integral for their success, especially during the Big Ten slate.
Yeah, I mean, the all-around guard play that she's going to be able to provide will be huge. So definitely good start to her season. And next game, Nebraska on the road already. They will travel to Wyoming. They play there Friday night. So that will be a good road test for the team. But not just the news about, this season opener, some big news for the future of this Nebraska women's basketball program. Elkhorn North guard Britt Prince, 5-star recruit, one of the best in the whole country. She's staying home, heading to Nebraska for her college career.
Incredible. I'm really happy for Britt that she has finally made her decision. I know that this has been weighing on her for years, right? Since teams started really taking an interest in her when she was like 8th grade. So for her to get this out of the way, signing day is Wednesday. And so she can just focus on enjoying the last 6 months of her high school career without this weighing on her has to be just an incredible feeling for her. She's known Amy Williams for a very long time. I thought her mom and her coach, Ann Prince, tweeted out a really cute video.
I saw that.
It was
Yeah.
adorable just seeing little Britt
And
with
little
Amy.
Kennedy
I
and Kennedy
know those
too.
two have
Yeah.
really grown up together, and I think it's going to be really special that those two will get the opportunity to finally I mean, they've played together, but like to play
Be on the
together.
same team.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
play together, for Kennedy's mom, for their state. Like, I don't know. I just think it's really special. And Britt is a generational talent. I think she can do some really, really special things for Nebraska. But she will continue to do special things for her high school squad as they hope to make it a four-peat this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say this is, I'm getting to the point where, I used to cover high school sports and now, we're a couple of years removed and it's like, okay, these players are committing, getting their colleges, because I remember, her freshman year, um, you know, there was a lot of hype, right? This girl was coming in that was going to be a scorer, going to be a point guard. The school had just opened, Elkhorn North, and just the level of play that she brought in as a freshman already, like so composed. Like, she was running that offense, as that point guard, and the growth that she's shown since then. Looking at her skills and how they're going to project to college. Incredible ball handler, great vision there on the court, great passer. She's a great scorer right now too.
Her
That's
Euro
yeah,
step just like is seared into my brain, like watching it last year.
unstoppable. Yeah.
And just the fact that she plays with her hair down. Like, I can't get over that. Like, I can't get over it. Just what she does and has like the potential to have hair in her face and doesn't stop her at all. It's crazy.
But yeah, I think the scoring, she scores a lot right now, and that's going to be a big part of her game too. But I just think the passing and the ball
The
handling,
vision, yeah, she sees things. It's like 3D chess for her. Like
absolutely, yeah.
she sees things develop, not just like one step ahead, but like 3 or 4 steps ahead of where it's going to be. It's incredible to watch.
So yeah, big news for the future of this Nebraska women's basketball program because there's big hopes for this year too. They're building something, and then you get that freshman class coming in. It's going to be a good combination for that program moving forward. So that was the big news this week. Britt Prince committing, joining that upcoming recruiting class. But also want to talk about men's basketball. Had that same season opening game there on Monday. And they're missing some players too. Keisei Tominaga, Jawan Gary, Blaze Keita all out, but still rolled to win 84-52 over Lindenwood. I think kind of one of the takeaways had to be the new guys in the front court, Rink Mast and Josiah Alec, bringing a lot of size, physicality, some scoring too there.
Yeah. Both of them made at least one 3-pointer, which that really changes what teams can do defensively when you have to worry about your big guys being a threat from deep. And one of the things that I, went into that game watching was how well do they play with one another? Like, how well are they together on the court? Because Rank didn't play in their close scrimmage against Utah because of the incident that he was involved in. And then Josiah Alec went down, bumped his knee in that scrimmage. And so they didn't get to play. Either of them didn't get to play against Doane in their exhibition last week. And so the two of them had never been on the floor at the same time when they're playing somebody else. And so I just think that was really, really good for building their chemistry. Obviously, they have it from practice, right? But it's a little bit different when you're going against somebody else. And I thought that they both were phenomenal. Granted, Lindenwood is not the most high profile team that you could play.
Or the tallest team.
No,
yep.
But the quote from Amy Williams yesterday, she said that, her dad always said you can't win them all if you don't win the first one. And so I felt that was pretty poignant for both of those teams yesterday.
Yeah, definitely applicable. And also for the men's basketball team, 4 out of the 5 starters scoring in the double digits. And don't know if you'd had this one projected going into that, but Sam Hoiberg, the leading scorer, 15 points.
I didn't think he'd be the leading scorer, but I thought he'd at least get 8.
Sure. I mean, he's definitely proven
especially
that
with
he can add that to the team.
Yeah, especially with, Casey not being able to play and Ramel not being able to play. You just knew that Sam would have a really big role for them yesterday. And like I was talking with our old pal Wilson, I just think that people really underestimate him. And I think that's part of what helped his success last year when he had to play because everybody was hurt. I just think people really underestimate him, and I don't think that's a smart idea.
Yeah, well, I think he's in a great position now, having had that experience last year. I mean, he's got the right mentality to be a bench player, give some big minutes to this team when they need it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a spark plug for them coming off the bench as their sixth man. I think he can do a lot of really unselfless things. I think he's really good at spreading things around and creating opportunities for people and also for himself.
Real hustle player, definitely.
Yeah, no kidding.
So Nebraska still, working through that rotation again, needing to get some of those guys back. They'll play Florida A&M coming to Lincoln on Thursday, and then Rider on Monday. The 2 upcoming matchups for them. And now on to our football segment portion of our podcast today, and a loss to talk about. It's been a few weeks since they were rattling off some wins, but Michigan State winning this one 20-17. Quickly to touch on that one, the defense not at its best. Rule said that post game allowed a few really big passing plays. I think those were the things that were really bothering defensive coordinator Tony White. He
today too.
He was bothered.
Yeah, very bothered. Definitely no 24-hour rule for him on that one. I think the word he used was bullcrap.
Yep.
Not sanitizing it. That is what he said. Bullcrap.
Yes, accurate reporting here. But I mean, clearly he's wanted to get this defense playing fast, playing physical. And I thought it was very interesting what he said today, that he should have been more aggressive with his play calls, that they were trying to just keep stuff in front of them, a little bit too much, which I assume was kind of a reaction to some of those early coverage busts.
Yeah, I would think so as well. He's just, he just kept reiterating today that I need to let them play fast, loose, and free.
Yeah.
And he felt that he was reining them in a little too much. And he wants to get them back to the way they were a couple weeks ago. And, we'll see. I think they've got a really tall task ahead of them, but we'll get more into that in a little bit.
Yeah. And also what he did say was, when the pressure was really on the line there, fourth quarter, Michigan State did go up, but there were several drives where there were big sacks, like big moments where the defense, finally did show that level. So it was more just a case of, getting that for the whole game, and some of those really specific moments, those specific plays that I'm sure he was looking back on going, I wish there was a different call there. So they're still kind of, making those adjustments. But it was really good to see from a defensive perspective, safety Marquise Buford making his return to the field.
Yeah, man, what a win for that guy. He had not played in a football game in almost a year.
Yeah.
It's like a week shy of a year. And to see him out there, granted, I'm sure in a perfect world, he would love to play as many snaps as possible. Be out there kind of like he was last year, just an Iron Man for those guys and really a difference maker. But he still, he admitted it today. He's, still getting his sea legs under him, because you can't just go back out there after being away for so long and think it's going to be like riding a bike.
Yeah.
So, but man, I'm just so happy for that guy. I think that this is going to be really good for him to maximize on the opportunities that he's got here without losing a year of eligibility to do so. And his resilience has, kind of rubbed off on all of the other players around him, and they've been very open about that. And I'm happy for him. I really am.
Yeah, months and months of rehab. His teammates talking about, how they were, they'd be going through other things in practice. They'd see him in the pit. That's what it's called. When the players are rehabbing, and just seeing him out there, knowing that he wanted to be with them, and finally get him back in practice, and then finally get him out on the field, making plays, making tackles. It was obviously a big boost to the players. From an on-field perspective and emotionally too. Getting that teammate back out there. So 20 snaps last week. We'll see if that goes up here in the coming weeks, but definitely Buford back in the midst of things and taking a big role in this defense once again. But
yeah, with Maryland's offense the way that it is, it wouldn't surprise me if we see more of him this week.
Yeah, depending on Malcolm Hartzog's status too.
Exactly. Yep.
Currently
Exactly.
questionable. He had to leave that game against Michigan State, and also questionable Prince Wellerman Mielen, still in concussion protocol when we heard from Matt Rule on Monday. So we'll see what his status is. But want to touch on this offense too. Of course, that was a major factor in the loss. Very stagnant at times. Several stretches where it was just punts. But at the same time, Heinrich Harburg threw 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. Some of those plays, he broke it down a little bit today, took responsibility, which is great. That's what you always want to see from him. But what I wonder is, could Nebraska have ran it more? Because they're having a lot of success running the ball. And yeah, they got behind. They did have to throw, but could they have ran it more is what I wonder.
Yeah, and I think I wasn't at Matt Rule yesterday, but just reading the comments that he had made and then listening to Marcus Satterfield today, I feel like they know that they need to give Emmett Johnson more opportunities, and I hope that they will do that because whenever he touches the ball, he's going for at least 4, generally speaking.
Yep.
So I think that they need to go back to what they said they were going to do in the off season, in the spring, in fall camp, and run the ball and assert themselves as a run first team. That's what they said they were going to do. They did do that. And then for some reason, they kind of we know why, lots of injuries.
Yep.
But you've got a running back who has shown that he can do it and wants to do it and is doing a good job with what he's asked to do. So I don't know why they wouldn't go back to that, but we'll see.
Yeah. And again, I mean, a lot of it was the pace of the game, falling behind. That was huge. But, there were some first down passes, some of those drives, especially to start the second half, that just didn't go anywhere.
That third quarter was abysmal.
And it's like, you're averaging 3+ yards a carry. It's like, why not just run it 3 times? I mean, I'm sure they would have had to punt again, if they did that, but there was an opportunity there, I think, to perhaps run it a little bit more. And that's something that they'll evaluate. But something else we're talking about too is kind of the punt return debacle is what I'll call it. Billy Kemp, clearly not 100%, instructed just a fair catch, not to return these punts, left a lot of yards out there.
I called it out when I saw it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I know Billy has great hands, but even if he's not 100%, he could have walked for 5 yards on some of those. I don't understand. I do understand. He wanted to get Billy involved. He's a leader for your team and all of that, and he can't really do anything else right now. But that's not helping your team win. Like, who knows what could have happened if you would have plugged Ethan Nation in on one of those where Billy had all the room in the world to run. I'm so frustrated I can't get my words right. I'm sure it's really infuriating for fans because it's infuriating for me as somebody who really cares about special teams and having that be, the core part of your team. Brian Buschini's day was frustrating too. Not sure what was going on there with him. He's usually a lot more productive than that. But yeah, the punt return saga was infuriating.
Yeah.
And Matt Rule did take ownership of
Which was
that
good.
yesterday. Yep. But how did you not realize in the moment that was a bad idea?
Yeah, it just felt it was so passive, risk adverse. Like, I feel like, you have to play to win, right? And that is playing
Not
not to
play.
lose.
That is,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't even know if it's playing not to lose. I don't think it's
Playing
playing to
not to
get.
fumble.
It's just playing. I don't even think I would consider it playing. You're showing up.
Yeah. Doing the bare minimum. Yep.
Yeah. And that does not invoke confidence at all.
Yeah. So we'll see if they make an adjustment there, whether that's Kemp could be healthy, able to return those punts, or if they do go to somebody else. Because left a lot of yards out there. That was a really rough series, some of those different punts.
And what gets me is that, sorry, I'm like harping on about this, but we talked to Ed Foley 3-4 days before this happened, and he said that punt return was something that he was, going to have a very clear, like he was going to look at it really hard, because they have not gotten the job done there. And then this happens, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, a setback to some of the special team success that they had been having, for sure.
Without question. Sorry for the rant. It was very infuriating in the moment and still kind of infuriating now.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of rants, we got about the closest I think we could get to a Matt Rule rant. He does go at length on certain topics, but usually like he's not angry, about topics. I mean, he was clearly a little bit upset talking about the questionable officiating decisions that Nebraska had to deal with in this game. The two particular plays, there was that Michigan State touchdown pass that put them up by 10. Pretty clearly upon video review, it hit the ground. Sometimes those are really hard, with the player trapping the ball. Like if you don't have a good camera angle, sometimes those plays get upheld, but there's some pretty clear angles that show the ball hitting the ground there.
Yeah, I was really confused by that in the moment as well. But yeah, there's been a lot of officiating issues this year, replay issues this year, not just in Nebraska's games,
Absolutely.
but all over the Big Ten. And if you can't get that part of the game right, what are we doing?
Yeah, and that was Rule's point. Like he was saying, like he has great respect for the officials. It's a hard job. Like stuff happens quick, but he's saying when it goes to video replay, he's never seen a call like that be completely wrong when it goes to replay.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just don't understand that one. I don't know if I ever will.
Yep. That was a tough one. And then the other big call there, the final drive that Nebraska had, Heinrich Harburg hit while he was trying to throw. They ruled it a fumble. I don't know how much time it chewed up. 15 seconds.
It was like 20.
Yeah.
It was like 21-ish about that, which that's 3 plays.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's tough, like, to sit here and be like, oh, they should have done this, but like, that is such a big call. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
And why that didn't go to replay.
Should have buzzed in. Absolutely.
Like, the booth should have been all over that.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't. Like, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses and say that, oh, Nebraska deserved to win the game. Because I'm not saying that. Because they made a ton of mistakes that were blatant mistakes.
Yep.
But the booth should have called to review that one. Because it was pretty obvious to all of us in the press box that was not a fumble. Like, in the moment. And just kept on going. Not sure what you're supposed to do in that situation.
Yeah. And I mean, Rule's point, and he also brought in a little bit of Michigan discussion to that. We don't need to go into the weeds of that, but he was just saying fairness is all he wanted. And, when you have two of those plays that go your way, it tends to tip the scales a little bit about how you feel about, some of those decisions that transpired. So that was a little bit difficult. And, the Big Ten doesn't comment publicly on these things.
Sometimes they do.
Yeah, generally.
Sometimes they
Yeah.
do. Yeah, it makes me think back to last year in basketball with the
That's right. Yeah.
horrific call against Purdue. That was the first time I think I talked about officiating like in a column like pretty like definitively. Through some sources, the Big Ten called the Big Ten apologized to Nebraska behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But didn't say anything publicly, which is bullcrap.
Kind of weak. Yeah.
Yeah, to quote Tony White, bullcrap.
Absolutely. So that was kind of a little bit of the controversy, that came with some of the poor play. So it was kind of a little bit of whirlwind of factors. And clearly, I think, talking to some of the coaches and players, like they were upset with that game, with their play, with some of those external factors, but they're trying to move past it. And I think the important thing is that they're not going to let one loss throw the season off course. They're very, very much so doing that whole go 1-0 this week, 24 hours, flush it from your system. That's been very important for them ahead of a really tough opponent coming to town, Maryland. Started the year 5-0, by the way, but have lost their last 4 games to Ohio State, Illinois, Northwestern, and Penn State. And what's going to make this matchup so difficult, the quarterback, Talia Tagovailoa, one of the best in college football, got about 2,500 passing yards this year, 21 passing touchdowns. Going to be a real test for this Nebraska defense.
Yeah, especially after there were some busted coverages last week.
Yeah.
They need to fix that yesterday.
And the concern that I have, too, is the 2 best quarterbacks they played this year, Shadir Sanders, J.J. McCarthy, have both really had a lot of success, high-scoring games.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm not overly optimistic about this one. Their best chance of success is containing Talia in the pocket and hoping that their pass rush gets through. But Maryland's offensive line is pretty good, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's what a few of the defensive players were talking about today. They just want to affect his game. Can't let him have clean looks back there. They want to hit him, get him on the ground. Rough. Potentially make that operation a little bit rougher. So that'll be the goal for the Nebraska defense. But at the same time, while Maryland does have this really good offense, good quarterback, good wide receivers, good scheme, this defense has really been leaky, especially over that 4-game losing skid. Maryland allowing 37 points per game. And again, Ohio State and Penn State in there, very, very talented teams. But Illinois, Northwestern too, like those are offenses that this Nebraska defense shut down. Like it does make you wonder, is there going to be a path to more scoring, more production from the Nebraska offense?
There will be a path, but I don't know if they will go down that
Does
path.
The execution
I don't know
match?
If they will go down the path, but the path will be there.
Yep, absolutely. So turnovers, a big topic, and that will be our Husker hot topic for today. It's something that really played such a big factor in Nebraska losing that Michigan State game. They've only won the turnover battle once, I believe, this season. So can they do it? Can they win the turnover battle against Maryland?
No. I don't know what to say here. Like, I think the defense has done a really good job in just about every area but this. You'd have to, kind of hope that Talia throws a duck that they get under, something kind of quirky like that. They're just not really, they just haven't been able to force a lot of fumbles. That just hasn't, their defense is good, but it hasn't risen to that level yet. And then, but more of my concern is with the offense. I just don't think that the offense will do the defense much favors in that regard, just because Nebraska is averaging, 2-3 turnovers a game?
Yeah.
That's not a winning formula to win the turnover battle if you're already 2-3 in the hole.
Certainly. I mean, it's possible because it's possible every game. Like it's within it's within the realms of possibility.
I'm
But
shaking my head.
I mean, season trends. Obviously, I mean Nebraska's top 5 or bottom 5, I should say, worst turnover margins in the whole country.
Most
Yep.
fumbles, most lost fumbles, and it's not even close. So
Yeah. So
I say no, but you can be Mr. Optimism
I
if you want.
no, I do agree. I think it's very, very likely that they lose the turnover battle because where they've had the most success, I think, is quarterbacks making bad decisions or getting, impacted by the weather. That doesn't look like it's going to necessarily be the case this week. Again, Tagovailoa is a very smart veteran quarterback that we'll see if, Nebraska's different defensive looks, can affect him. So, yeah, I do think forcing a fumble would probably be the best way that they can get positive into that turnover category. And, the fumble issues have been so common. I just wonder, limit limit the passes and you can limit that chance of interceptions. So I think that's a good place to start. But then again, if you are going to run it so much, the fumble risk comes back in. So yeah, ultimately this turnover battle, these issues have hurt Nebraska all year. I think it's going to continue this game and moving forward. But it's a big thing for the coaches. They're just saying if we can, be even or win that, I mean, it gives them such a big boost to their winning chances.
It's a big if, though.
Absolutely. So bowl eligibility still on the line. That's potential for Nebraska to clinch that bowl this week. And for our game predictions, do we think that they get it done?
Nope. I have Maryland 28, Nebraska 14. I think that Maryland just finds a way, goes off for a few explosive plays that are really the defining factors in this one.
Yep, I agree with you. I've got 24-17 as my prediction right now. I do think that Maryland can maybe score a little bit more than that, to be honest. And like I said, I just don't think that this is a good matchup for Nebraska with a team that has a really good offense, has a subpar defense. Like if this Nebraska offense can string together first downs, get a few drives, I think, that's their path towards keeping this game competitive. But I just think that Maryland offense, they'll break through on enough of these drives, and that'll make the difference.
Yeah, I just don't think Nebraska's offense can keep up in a track meet.
Yeah, agreed. So big challenge coming for this defense, this Nebraska defense, to see if they can slow down Maryland. They powered so many winning efforts. I think that's going to be the key again in this one. And early 11 a.m. kick.
Breakfast
Yeah.
pizza.
We'll be interested to see the energy that both Maryland and Nebraska can bring to this game. Again, big for both of them. Both of them going for that 6th win. So we'll see how that shakes out. We'll have, as always, the full coverage for you at journalstar.com. Stuff leading up to the game too, and of course volleyball, men's basketball, women's basketball, and soccer. Women's soccer team making the NCAA tournament. Starting things off on Friday. So
yeah, first times in years that they've made it to the NCAA tournament. I know they didn't have the showing that they wanted in the Big Ten tournament, losing a heartbreaker in the semifinal. But you never know how the postseason can go. Anybody can win any game, and when you have scorers like Nebraska has with Eleanor Dale and Sarah, and one of their best players is Flo. I mean, she's like one of the best in the country at creating opportunities for those two. It's incredible to watch these guys play. So hopefully I can get out there. Still don't know what my Friday will look like, and I won't know what it'll look like until Friday. But for those of you who can go, you should go. They're fun to watch, and they want the sport. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's great. A first NCAA tournament team. We'll see if there's any more as we get into hoop season.
There'll be another one.
Yep. Big season goals, of course, for those teams. So make sure to stay tuned for all those different sports. And as always, we appreciate all of you repeat listeners, our viewers out there, thanks for sticking with us throughout the season, and we'll see you next week.